You wake up tired. Not just sleepy, tired. The kind of tired that's already there before your feet hit the floor. Your knees take a few minutes to cooperate. Your back reminds you it exists. By 10 in the morning, you're still running on 40%. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you've accepted it. You tell yourself, this is just 60. This is just how it goes. But here's what nobody told you. That fatigue, those aching joints, that fog behind your eyes, that's not your body giving up. That's your body waiting. Waiting for a signal it stopped receiving years ago. Inside you right now, as you're watching this, there are approximately 70 million stem cells in your bone marrow doing nothing. Not because they burned out, not because you're past the point of repair, because the chemical message that tells them to move never arrived. And that message, it comes from food. I'm Jada Lennox, longevity medicine specialist. Today, I'm walking you through the exact nutrition protocol that wakes those cells up. Backed by research, broken down simply, and designed for people over 60 who are done accepting decline as a done deal. Stay with me. What comes next will genuinely surprise you. Let's start with the basics, because there's a lot of confusion about this. Stem cells are not some futuristic medical concept. They're not something you inject in a clinic for $50,000. They are already inside you, since before you were born. And their job, their entire purpose, is repair. Think of them as a construction crew. When something in your body gets damaged, a blood vessel, a patch of tissue, stem cells show up, assess the damage, and rebuild. They can transform into almost any cell type your body needs. That's what makes them extraordinary. Now here's the part most people don't know. After 60, you don't lose your stem cells. Studies confirm the number stays surprisingly stable. What changes is their activity level. From a full crew working double shifts to a crew sitting in a van waiting for a call that never comes. Why does that call stop coming? 3 things happen simultaneously as we age. First, chronic low-grade inflammation creates a hostile environment that suppresses stem cell signaling. Second, the blood vessels that carry stem cells to damaged areas become less efficient. Third, the gut microbiome deteriorates. And that microbiome plays a direct role in sending regenerative signals throughout the body. So by the time you're 60, 65, 70, you have the crew. You just lost the radio system. Here's what research from the last 15 years has quietly established, and what hasn't made it into mainstream conversation yet. Specific compounds in specific foods can restore that radio signal. They act on the bone marrow directly. They reduce inflammatory interference. We're not talking about miracle supplements. We're talking about dark chocolate, berries, tea, mushrooms, foods you can find in any grocery store. Once you understand how it works, the simplicity starts to make sense. Let me show you exactly what's happening inside your body. Before we get to the specific foods, I want to give you a map. Understanding how regeneration works makes everything click into place. Your body doesn't rely on just one repair mechanism. It uses 3 simultaneously, and the most powerful protocols work on all 3 at once. The first pathway, direct stem cell mobilization. Certain compounds trigger the bone marrow to release stem cells into the bloodstream. Once they're circulating, they migrate toward inflammation, toward damage, toward areas of cellular stress. Think of it as the dispatch call finally going through. The second pathway, inflammation reduction. Chronic low-grade inflammation is stem cell enemy number 1. It doesn't just suppress the signal, it actively damages the cells before they can reach their destination. Reducing that background inflammation is like clearing the road so the construction crew can actually get to the job site. The third pathway, angiogenesis. This one surprises people. It means the growth of new, healthy microvessels, tiny capillaries. Why does that matter? Because stem cells travel through blood vessels. If your vascular network is deteriorating, even mobilized stem cells can't reach where they're needed. New capillary growth literally rebuilds the delivery infrastructure, and certain foods activate all 3 pathways at once. Not one, all 3. The most studied of those foods is one most people associate with dessert, not medicine. Imagine a research team measuring stem cells in the bloodstream of adults over 50. Before and after a dietary intervention. 30 days, 1 food added daily. The result? Nearly double the number of circulating stem cells, plus measurable improvement in vascular function, meaning blood vessels became more elastic and responsive. The food was dark chocolate. Before you get excited and reach for a Snickers, The specifics matter enormously here. We're talking about chocolate with a minimum of 70% cocoa. 80 to 85% is even better. And the quantity is precise. 2 small squares per day, not half a bar, 2 squares. Cocoa is one of the richest sources of a compound called epicatechin, a flavonoid that acts directly on the bone marrow. It tells the marrow that repair is needed, and that it's time to release stem cells into circulation. Simultaneously, epicatechin reduces oxidative stress in blood vessel walls, supporting angiogenesis, and it has a mild anti-inflammatory effect. So you're hitting all 3 pathways with 2 squares of good chocolate per day. Does it work like medicine? The data suggests yes. When was the last time your diet was working for your biology, this specifically? That's what we're building toward today. How often do you eat berries? Not as a treat. Deliberately, consistently, every single day. 1 cup of berries per day. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, any combination. That's the protocol. Berries are extraordinarily rich in compounds called anthocyanins, the pigments that give them their deep blue, red, and purple colors. But color is just the visible part. What anthocyanins do biochemically is where it gets interesting. They bind to receptors in the vascular lining and trigger the production of nitric oxide, which relaxes blood vessels and improves circulation. This creates exactly the vascular environment where stem cells can travel efficiently. Berries are directly rebuilding that delivery road network. Anthocyanins also reduce oxidative stress at the mitochondrial level, and this is critical for everyone over 60. Your mitochondria are the energy factories inside every cell. After 60, mitochondrial function declines, and that decline makes stem cells sluggish. Blueberries in particular have been shown in multiple studies to partially reverse mitochondrial aging in muscle tissue. Not slow it down, partially reverse it. 1 cup, every day. The effect is cumulative. The first week, you may notice nothing. By week 4, the vascular changes are measurable. By week 12, some study participants showed cognitive improvements alongside the physical ones. Your brain has its own stem cell population too. Now, let's talk about something that surprises almost everyone. Your gut microbiome, the bacteria living in your intestines, is not just a digestive system. It is an active signaling network, communicating directly with your immune system, your brain, and your stem cell regeneration pathways. When the microbiome deteriorates, as it does significantly after 60, those signals become corrupted. Inflammatory compounds increase, repair signals decrease. Anything that rapidly improves microbiome health is, indirectly, a stem cell intervention. And one of the fastest resets is something small, green, and slightly fuzzy. Kiwi fruit. 1 to 2 kiwis per day has been shown to measurably improve microbiome diversity within just 24 hours. Not 30 days, 1 day. The fiber profile in kiwi, particularly a compound called actinidin, feeds beneficial bacterial strains with unusual speed and efficiency. As the microbiome improves, the downstream effect on inflammation and stem cell signaling follows. Alongside kiwi, tea. 2 cups per day of green or black tea delivers a powerful dose of polyphenols. But here's the critical detail almost nobody mentions. Do not add milk to your tea. Milk fat, specifically the casein proteins in dairy, binds directly to the polyphenols in tea and blocks their absorption almost entirely. You're drinking all the ritual and none of the medicine. 2 cups, no milk, green or black, both work. The difference in bioavailability is not minor. It is the difference between the compounds reaching your bloodstream and passing straight through unused. Small adjustment, significant outcome. Now, let's talk about the most underestimated food on this entire list. Mushrooms. Not because they're exotic, because they're ordinary. You walk past them in the grocery store every week without a second thought. 4 times per week, any variety. Button, cremini, portobello, shiitake. The specific species matters less than the consistency. Mushrooms contain 2 compounds that work in combination in a way that's genuinely unusual in the plant world. The first is beta-glucan, a type of soluble fiber that directly activates immune cells called macrophages, your body's primary cleanup crew. When macrophages are active, they remove cellular debris and inflammatory compounds from areas where stem cells are trying to work. Think of it as clearing the construction site. The second compound is ergothioneine. This one is extraordinary. It functions as a cellular stress protector, shielding tissues from oxidative damage at the deepest level. And here's the remarkable part. Your body cannot produce ergothioneine on its own. The only meaningful dietary source is mushrooms. Research from the National University of Singapore found that people eating mushrooms more than twice a week had significantly lower risk of mild cognitive decline. The researchers specifically pointed to ergothioneine as a key factor. 4 times per week. Any mushroom. Just eat them regularly. Now, mitochondrial health after 60 is arguably the single most important factor in how energetic, sharp, and capable you feel day to day. Your mitochondria produce ATP, the energy currency your cells run on. Every heartbeat, every thought, every step, powered by mitochondrial output. After 60, mitochondrial efficiency declines at an accelerating rate, unless you actively support it. 2 foods do this better than almost anything else. Avocado first. 1 avocado per day sounds indulgent, but nutritionally, it's one of the most efficient foods you can eat. It contains monounsaturated fats that directly support cell membrane integrity, meaning the walls of your cells stay flexible and permeable rather than rigid. Rigid cell membranes impair communication between cells and impair the ability of stem cells to integrate into the tissues they're supposed to repair. 1 avocado contains more fiber than most people get in an entire day. That fiber feeds the same beneficial gut bacteria, creating a reinforcing loop. Now, pomegranate. This is where the mitochondria story gets genuinely exciting. Pomegranate contains a compound called punicalagin, which gut bacteria convert into a molecule called urolithin A. And urolithin A does something remarkable. It triggers a process called mitophagy, your cell's quality control system for mitochondria. It identifies damaged, inefficient mitochondria and removes them, making way for newer, healthier ones to develop. Imagine your power plant running on 30-year-old turbines that are half broken. Urolithin A comes in, identifies the broken turbines, and clears them out. New, efficient ones take their place. Energy output improves. Cellular signaling improves. The entire regenerative environment improves. Clinical trials in adults over 60 showed measurable improvements in muscle endurance. Your gut does the work. You just provide the raw material. How often are you actually eating these foods? Not as a judgment, as a genuine inventory. Awareness is always the first step. We've covered what to eat. Now, let's talk about something most nutrition conversations skip entirely. And it changes the effectiveness of everything by a significant margin. When you eat these foods matters. Your body's regenerative systems operate on a biological clock, a circadian rhythm coordinating repair activity across every organ system. The most intensive repair work happens during sleep, specifically in the first 3 to 4 hours. Stem cell activity, tissue repair, cellular cleanup all peak. This creates a practical strategy for maximizing the impact of your nutrition protocol. It comes down to timing. The dark chocolate, eat it in the afternoon. Not after dinner, not in the morning. Mid-afternoon, roughly 2 to 4 hours before your evening meal. This gives epicatechin time to mobilize stem cells into circulation, so they're actively traveling through your bloodstream as your sleep cycle begins. The tea, same principle. Your 2 cups work best in the late morning and early afternoon, because the polyphenols need hours to be absorbed before they can support overnight repair. The berries, kiwi, avocado, and mushrooms. These work well at any meal. But your last meal before bed should not be a large one. Eating heavily within 90 minutes of sleep suppresses the hormonal signals that coordinate overnight regeneration. A light early dinner is genuinely one of the most underrated longevity habits available. And water. Even mild dehydration, the kind you don't consciously feel, thickens the blood and slows cellular transit. Significantly. Wherever possible, avoid water from plastic bottles. What we already know about microplastics and hormonal signaling makes filtered tap or glass-bottled water the better choice. The timing piece is free. It costs nothing to shift when you eat your chocolate. But the compound effect of eating the right things at the right times is meaningfully larger than either factor alone. I want to be completely honest with you right now, because I think you deserve honesty more than you deserve hype. When you start this protocol, nothing dramatic happens in the first week. You won't wake up on day 7 feeling like a different person. And that's exactly how real biological change works. Your body is not a light switch. It's a river. You don't redirect a river in a day. You redirect it by consistently applying pressure in the right direction. until the new channel becomes the natural one. Here's what the research actually shows at the 30-day threshold. Measurable increases in circulating stem cells. Measurable improvements in vascular flexibility. Your blood vessels literally more elastic than a month earlier. Reduced markers of systemic inflammation. And in studies tracking gut microbiome, significant increases in beneficial bacterial strains directly associated with reduced disease risk. You may not feel all of this, but it is happening inside you whether you feel it or not. And then something shifts. Somewhere between week 4 and week 6, most people report a change they didn't expect. They sleep more deeply. They wake up with less of that heavy, preloaded fatigue. The afternoon energy crash becomes less frequent. Joints that ached before noon start cooperating until 2, then 3. This is not placebo. This is measurable mitochondrial improvement expressing itself as lived experience. Your cells are producing energy more efficiently. By 90 days, this is where the data becomes genuinely striking. Some study participants showed reversal of early vascular changes associated with aging. Not stabilization, reversal. Blood vessels behaving measurably younger than they did 3 months prior. 90 days is 3 months, roughly the time between now and the end of summer, or now and the new year. That's the window in which your biology can measurably shift. Not with surgery, not with expensive intervention, but with consistent, deliberate choices at the grocery store. The people who participated in these studies weren't exceptional. Many came in with elevated inflammation markers, declining vascular function, low energy. The exact profile of someone who had already accepted that this was just how aging felt. And their biology changed anyway. That's the thing about your 70 million stem cells. They didn't give up on you. They've been waiting, patient, ready, for the signal to arrive. The moment the right compounds started appearing consistently in the bloodstream, they responded. Your body wants to repair itself. That instinct is not gone. It was never gone. It was just waiting for you to give it the right instructions. And you now have those instructions. Let's bring everything together, because I want you to leave this video with something concrete in your hand, not just ideas in your head. 7 foods, 1 protocol, 90 days. 1 cup of berries every single day. 2 squares of dark chocolate in the afternoon. Minimum 70% cocoa. 2 cups of green or black tea, no milk, morning and early afternoon. 1 to 2 kiwis daily for that microbiome reset. Mushrooms 4 times a week. Any variety, any preparation. 1 avocado per day. And pomegranate, as often as you can make it happen. That's it. No elimination diet, no dramatic restriction, no expensive supplements. Just 7 specific foods, eaten consistently, timed thoughtfully. Of these 7 foods, which ones are you already eating regularly? And which one could you realistically add this week as your starting point? Tell me in the comments. If this video gave you something useful, share it with someone who needs to hear it. A spouse, a sibling, a friend who's been quietly accepting decline as inevitable. Everything I've shared today is grounded in current research and represents general information about nutrition and longevity science. Your health history and needs are unique to you. Please discuss any significant dietary changes with your doctor. Take care of yourself. Your biology is more capable than you've been told. Go give it the chance to prove that.